big gun battles and things like that, just knocking down in the street. Was that something you found on a routine basis? Is that kind of like the one-off that makes the news, or what is an average day might
I
look
mean,
like? I know it probably varies,
in
but
my mind, I would always keep it week to week. Like we would have
okay.
these work weeks basically. And it was, I'll go over like I think one of my most memorable weeks, I guess. Uh, we start off with a shootout at 3 in the morning between two rival cartel factions. It leaves about 16 dead, strewn all over the place. Yeah, when we got there, there was a few guys on the ground with AKs just laid on the ground, and reports of shooting all over the city because they spread out from there. So these are people dressed as soldiers, people dressed as federal police officers, people that were actual cops in marked vehicles in that shootout. So how do you deal with that? We get there and like, who's who? Pick up those guns. Don't leave them here. Kid is gonna pick them up. So that we have a truck. The truck is full of AKs covered in blood and brain matter. So that's the start of the week. And then,
Jeez.
A few days later, there's a shootout at the downtown Tijuana, abduction of a businessman. And it makes the news, and he's friends with a politician, so he gets extra attention. And now all of us are basically going door to door and visiting every single known offender in the past for the next 3 days. So and there's no such thing as sleep. So there's sleep in the car, or take a nap in the hotel for a bit, and then go back out. Then there's prison riots that you have to attend, because that's another responsibility that we have as a responding agency. And then there's eradication shit we have to do in the middle of Ensenada somewhere, some of the hills in Ensenada, and being flown out there in a helicopter to try and figure that out. So it was insane. It was an insane time. It's the tempo of it was pretty surreal. Been thinking about it now.
How, and it's not like you're removing yourself at night, going home and relaxing. No. Like you're living in that environment. So like the switch is never turned off.
Oh no.
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with that?
Hotels, we would stay at hotels, army barracks. Every now and then a group of us would rent a house or an apartment, and we would basically do that to kind of keep ourselves safe, because we were hunted. They would hunt us. I mean, there's money out there for a badge. So there was that was always a worry. A few of our guys got picked up after work, and that was always like a worry. So you never turned it off. We would have a buddy system. Would check in regularly. Everybody was armed always. The need for figuring out how to get out of trying to get abducted was fairly clear there, which led to me now doing what I do as far as an instructor. But you never turned it off. I mean, I every now and then on my social media accounts, I share some of these journal entries or therapy notes that I as far as after I got out, I've been going through a lot of therapy and trying to figure things out as far as the experiences that I had and how to get better. I've been very open about my process. I have this vivid memory of waking up I thought it was the middle of the night, seeing an AR-15 like on the wall, seeing one of our guys outside smoking, outside the window smoking, basically a fire watch, and seeing another dude in full kit, basically is laid out on the couch asleep. He doesn't want to get undressed because he only has a few hours, so he'll just open the belt and unbutton, take off his shoes, and that's how you would rest. So I describe all of these things that I was seeing as I woke up, and I remember just looking at the clock and realizing it was only 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and I had the whole night to sleep through. So it was. I remember that when I was asked what a good day was or a good moment was for me back then, I think like stuff like that was a good moment for me. Realizing that I had the whole night to
Jeez.
sleep. And feeling safe because there was a bunch of dangerous ass men around me with guns, and I was one of them.
And you operate in that environment for
Yeah,
years, right?
it's 12 years of that. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're out of it. So that's obviously what's wrong with a lot of American servicemen as well. I think it's probably a problem. It's old as war.
Right.
It's very easy to put people in war. It's hard to take them out of it.
Yeah. I mean, the traumatic stress, the things you're seeing, and you're doing it day in and day out. I've heard guys talk, we compared to like first responders versus soldiers. Again, there's some apples and oranges. Both are seeing tough stuff. But with the soldier, at least you're detaching and you're coming home. I mean, there's still a lot of problems you have to deal with. But if you're, first responder, you're driving past that street corner, taking your kid to school, like you're never removed from it. And then your scenario, obviously, I'd say obviously even tougher. Like you're being hunted and you're hunted and then you're hunting and it's just on and off,
Yeah. It's I remember this, that movie, The Patriot, he talks about wars being fought amongst your houses, between people that share your same faith and language. Speaking to some of my friends who are like veterans of the U.S. wars, like a lot of them, like a lot of people ask me, like, "Hey, you had to like you talk about therapy and all the things that you're going through. Like, I had amazing post-traumatic stress disorder instructors and all the servicemen that I met in the U.S. It is definitely something that is heavy, and I recognize it in a lot of my American brothers and sisters that have come back from some of that experience. And you can get it from being. I mean, any law enforcement agency in the U.S. Some of them see a lot. Some of them see kind of some of the same things that I saw down there. It's hard. It's hard to turn that off, or what it changes inside of you is hard to deal with after you're gone. Like for me, it was alcoholism. I see some of that in the U.S. as well. Broken marriages, just physical maladies manifesting themselves over sleepless, nightmare filled nights that some people get after going through some of that shit. And a big aspect and a lot of the reason why I do what I do and talk about what I talk about is that the difference between somebody coming back from the Middle East and coming home is that, well, there's no coming home for a lot of people, on my end. They are home. And they're voiceless. There's not a lot of voices like that out there for people. Like, I mean, if I ask anybody out there nationwide, how many ex-members of Mexican law enforcement do they know that are speaking about some of these issues? I'm it. I'm the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. No one else.
So
what,
that's my kind of my way of dealing with some of these things, and some of the people that I lost out there is to keep kind of their story and their voice alive.
What made